Welcome to the PPC radio show. So happy to have you. Yay! Today we have, of course, Shelly Shell Williams. Thank you, Lord. We have DJ Kid Disco, and we have our special guest today, Tammy Lynn Connors. And boy, what a story she has. So before we get into that, we're going to pay those bills and do our commercials, and we'll see you right after.
WGFB-FM radio.
So are you ready?
Yeah. How it used to be. Something for everyone. 24/7, 365.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Cinda Williams here, and welcome to the Grown Folks Radio World. Wednesday afternoons from 2 to 4 Eastern, I host the PPC radio show with Shelly Shell Williams.
Hey everybody, it's Shell Williams, Philly's Oprah.
We got some important stuff to talk about.
Fridays at noon Eastern, I present the PPC podcast. It drops on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, and many more. Please join me for real talk, great guests, lots of laughs, and powerful, precious conversations that can fill your self-help treasure chest with gems.
Listen, you only think you know Cinda Williams, co-host of the PPC radio show and the Melanated Morning Show. You've seen her in films with some of the GOATs. You may have even heard her sing her way to the top. You don't have to judge the book by its cover. You can get the book and read it cover to cover. I'm talking about Pink Panty Confessions by Cinda Williams, available in paperback and digital format in all good bookstores. I would probably look in Amazon.
Pink Panty Confessions, the book.
The COVID-19 vaccines can be our chance to get back to our plans, who we are, what we miss, to get back to each other, to life. But it's okay to have questions, like, how were the vaccines tested? In rigorous clinical trials among adults of diverse backgrounds. Can the vaccines give you COVID-19? You cannot get COVID-19 from a vaccine. Why should I get vaccinated? Protecting yourself also helps protect the people around you. Find the latest information at getvaccineanswers.org.
Hey everybody, it is Shell Williams.
Hi, this is Cinda Williams, and I am so blessed to tell you about a new book on survival called Faith, Failure, Success, Volume 2, Surviving the Storm. Erica Summers, Martha Chavez, Latricia Rice, Nicole Reed, Danielle Hudson, and I have come together to share our deepest challenges and how we overcame. Please check it out on Amazon.com and wherever books are sold.
Amazon is hiring near you. Earn a competitive wage and start as soon as 7 days. No resume or experience required. Health and safety are a top priority with all of Amazon's roles and sites. Amazon is taking precautions in their buildings to keep people healthy. Go to Amazon.com/apply. That's Amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
WGFB-FM radio.
So are you ready?
Yeah. How it used to be. Something for everyone. 24/7, 365. It's the PPC radio show. Hosted by Cinda Williams. Co-hosted by Shelly Shell Williams. Music by DJ Kid Disco. On the Grown Folks Radio. Yeah.
PPC, 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 yeah. PPC, PPC, CPC, yeah. Join me so we can grow together. Conversation, get that healing. Let them know what they're missing. Share with your best friend. Tell them come hear this, yeah. Don't you dare miss your blessing. These powerful lessons, true confession. confessions. Yeah, PPC, yeah, a power tool for you. PPC, yeah, a power tool for you and me. PPC,
Welcome to the PPC Radio Show. If you're just joining us, Shelly Shell, DJ Kid Disco, Tammy Lynn Connors, and Cinda, we're all here to share with you. So Tammy, when we before we get into you, we like to get some secret information. So Shelly Shell, tell us about it.
If you listen to the intro, it said True Confession. So it's True Confessions time. Woo, 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 woo. It doesn't have to be deep. It can be funny. It can be embarrassing stories. So, Tammy, tell us your true confession.
Okay, I wasn't ready for that. Well, I'm excited to be here today. Thank you so much. So I guess one of the biggest things about me that would be like a true confession that a lot of people know about too, though, is that I love to dance, like dance hard. So here's a little story. Can I say a little story here about it? It's kind of a funny story, so I'm just going to say it. So I was in Vegas a couple months ago dancing like from 9 at night till 4 in the morning. We were at an event. It was a neon party. So I had a pink, yellow, blue tutu on. Some people, if you follow me on TikTok, you'll see it because it's in some videos. So anyways, at the end of the night, I couldn't walk. My leg hurt so bad. And it was my tendon in my knees. So then it happened to me again the next time I danced. So as many people know, that's so good for my soul. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So I said a little prayer and I said, God, please don't take my dancing away from me. I love it so much. And he whispered back, quit dancing like a hoe and I won't.
Was you twerking? You twerking out there.
Listen, my knee hurt for a reason. So he lets me still dance. He made me wear a knee brace now. So I try to calm it down a little bit. So that's a little something funny, I guess, about me.
I love that. I love that. We all have to follow suit. So Cinda, your turn.
I love dancing too. I am a huge I grew up in entertainment. So of course I had ballet and tap and modern and all this kind of stuff. And that was definitely not, they say there's an actor that can sing or a singer that can act. Dancing was never in the top echelon. People make fun of me, but I was pretty good. But when I started going out, it took a long time. I didn't start like going out to clubs and stuff when I moved to New York. And I would literally stay out all night and dance my tail off all night long. I love it. I still love it. Having been married a few times, did not, unfortunately, weren't with men that liked that. So I got away from it. But now that I'm, doing me, I have every intention when this weather breaks to find some places and go dance. Now, how I do it, I don't do the all night thing because I don't like a lot of people around me. So I'll go at 9 o'clock and I'll stay till people start coming and then I leave. But I dance really hard in that time so I can have my fun and not be bothered by folks. I'm not a very social dancer. With my friends, I'm a social dancer, but not with strangers. I'm not into dudes coming up and grinding on me. So I'll tell you one quick story. When I was in Texas visiting my brother and my sister, and they had a friend that was like, let me take you out. I heard you love to dance. Let me take you out. I was like, okay, cool. So we go to this club with, there's a couple of us, and one of my friends is gay and she's there and she's like, this is fun. We can dance. The way that men greeted you there was to come up and they didn't say hello, didn't say, can we dance? They came up and put themselves, their piece in your butt crack and started grinding. And I almost fought a couple of times because I didn't. And then I started watching and noticing, oh my gosh, that's how they greet you. They come up behind you. That was the thing. So I found a wall that they still try to get behind and just dance the rest of the night away up against the wall.
You know
Grinding
what?
on the wall.
They used to call him a Wally back in the day. Yeah.
I promise
My
you
true
and everything I
confession
love.
is I wanted to be a dancer. My number one goal was to be a dancer. I always thought I was going to be a backup dancer for a hip hop group or something like that. I started gaining weight so that fear took over and I didn't try out for the dance team. I was walking down the hall to get ready try out for the cheerleading team at the high school, and midway through I chickened out, did not do it. So I just gave up dance. And then I had a couple of embarrassing stories that it was like one time I went to dance and they didn't have stockings to fit. So they put two pairs of stockings together. It was just so embarrassing. So I gave up on dance. But yesterday I was outside and one of my girlfriends saw me standing outside and she's a dancer and she was getting ready to do dance lessons. And I said, I just confessed. I said, I really always wanted to be a dancer. So the guy that was dancing was instructing her. He showed me some moves and we got to dance outside yesterday. It was so fun. Yes, I love to dance. I think dancing is so amazing. I'm going to get my chance to dance on stage one day.
You should.
That one.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. We'll figure it out, man. Maybe we can do something.
Yeah.
Hey, DJ Disco, how about you?
Okay, so 3 words were mentioned all night long in the club, and hoe and dancing. So I was dancing with a hoe once, and
dancing with a hoe, for real? You gonna say?
She was. So was I.
Okay,
And
dance with a hoe.
I was DJing. I was actually DJing in North Jersey, believe it or not. And when I woke up, I was in Connecticut.
You danced your way to Connecticut with a hoe?
All night long.
All night long.
I try all week because I was. Oh, you kidnapped me. I was high. And I stayed for 3 more days.
You said a week?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
What in the world? That was a good hoe right there.
Did I just tell y'all she was a hoe? She was an out-of-state hoe.
She was a hoe that said, I'm gonna take my business with me.
Now, disclaimer here. I'm not a hoe. I dance like one.
Right. There's a difference.
Oh, well, I'm not.
There's a big difference. Like, I'm like you, Cinda. Don't be backing up on me. Don't be coming around me. This is my bubble. This is my space. This is where I dance. I'm in my own
Well, no,
world.
I knew she was a
We
hoe.
different. I like to back that thing up on sometimes.
We knew she.
I said that is my favorite thing. I want to
This
back it
particular
up.
girl, we knew she was a hoe before we knew she could dance.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, you can be a hoe and not dance, and
Nah, she was a better hoe
dancer that's
all
not
day.
a hoe, or both.
Right.
And you don't gotta be you don't gotta be a hoe just to back that thing up. I think that's the
Well,
best
that's
part
true
of
too.
dancing.
No, that's true too.
I'm not a hoe. I ain't going home with you, but I will back it up all day.
Well,
That's
she didn't
funny.
go home with me. I went home with her.
Yeah. So you were the hoe. No.
Pretty much. And that's the moral of the story.
The moral of the story is he knows the hoe.
Now we know.
He's not anymore. He's a married man.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. 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 I've backed it up a few times, but I don't do that as often anymore because I have had too many crazy people wanting me to back it up far too long and too often. So it's just best to just keep
It's just
in my
best to
lane.
go- I
For
understand.
the
I
record,
definitely
guys, I know I'm usually live, but I'm not home, so I can't.
What? That's right, because you're with your grandbabies. Got to keep your head straight, right?
Yes, everybody is laughing over here. Everybody's laughing over here. Can you see the comments, Cynthia?
No.
Okay, so Monica says hi. Malik Ishmael says, did I say it right?
Yeah, Ishmael.
Says greetings to all. And then Malik Jenkins said, Cinda, you almost fought someone? Question mark. Monica said crazy. And then dancing with the whole kid disco. That was That was what's it called? Malik. What we call him? Malik Jenkins.
Yeah, Malik Truth.
Malik Truth, that's what it is. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
James Patterson, ha 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 ha. He probably laughing at you, Cinder.
James got to experience some of that dance, and I didn't back it up though. All right, let's get serious. All right, it don't have to be serious. It can be fun or not. It depends. So, Tammy, obviously your story is serious as can be, but I'm sure you spent a lot of time dancing. Considering, that's the thing about going out. The elements all connect, right? And I actually honestly did not drink until I was older, and I only blacked out one time. I only got drunk one time, but that was enough to never do it again. And but I remember dancing my tail off that night. So those things combine. Not always. You can dance your tail off without a sip, as you know, because you've been doing it for a very long time right now.
I've woke up in other states.
What?
I've woke up in a whole other state.
Yeah, you are
From
special.
drinking?
Yes.
But yeah, you don't drink anymore. Is that why?
Exactly. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, I get it. I get it. I don't drink anymore either. I do from time to time, but
yeah, I mean, like I said, one time, 23 years old, blacked out, have no idea what happened at night. I'm literally just now starting to get little stories from people about that night that I never knew happened. I didn't even know certain people were with me. I'm just now finding out some of the crazy. Matter of fact, one more quick thing. I went to this it was a birthday party for a woman, when my daughter was with me. It was a house party, and one of the girls there was so jacked up. She was so toe up that I absolutely know she was blacked out. I know she doesn't know the next day because I saw her the next day. And she started backing that thing up on my daughter. On my daughter. Up and down her body. And she was very good at it. I wanted to punch that. I was like,
she said she was very good at it though.
Yeah, that's where I was at, Shelly. Wait a minute, back up. You're not gonna talk over that like you ain't say nothing.
She said she was very good at it. Like, wait a minute. She said low key, she had some skills. But the fact that was my daughter, we got to be rumbling. But
exactly.
Low key, I can learn a couple things, right?
She was a very good dancer. Let's just say that. And that she had a lot of flexibility in her back and her butt. And she was using it for about 5 minutes. And I'm standing there, I'm like, I'm fighting internally because I want to punch her in the mouth. But I know she's drunk. But yet my daughter's 20, going on 21. And I'm like, I have to let her handle her stuff because I'm not going to be there. So I just stood there like a robot, like not moving, looking at this girl, and her friends were surrounding her because they knew it was wrong. They knew it was wrong. And my daughter is like this. She had this look like a half smile, half disgust, and
like, I don't know what to do right now.
Exactly. Right. And she literally didn't do anything. She just stood there until the lady was done. And then her friends finally pulled her away. But when I saw her the next day, she was acting normal. If she remembered it, she would have been embarrassed. But she, and now we know she's a bisexual.
But either way, the liquor may have just do whatever. So what is the whole thing about liquor? So we have to hear her story because now they're like, well, why are they talking about liquor and alcohol? If they haven't seen the podcast or listened to the podcast, they need to know what liquor is all about.
Oh, it's slicker, all right. Let me tell you. Yeah. So, are you ready for me to share a little bit?
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much for having me on here. I appreciate it. I love to get my story of hope out there because that's exactly what it is. I went through many, many years of struggles. I've been sober for 18 years. On March 9th was my 18-year sobriety date. And when I talk about, people that know me now, they're like, oh, okay, you were an alcoholic, like really. And when I say I was an alcoholic and my addiction was so bad at the end, I weighed about 87 pounds. My cheeks were sunk in. My eyes were completely yellow. I was vomiting pretty much all day long, really. I would drink just to get rid of the shakes at the end there. So to go back a little bit to history, I was raised in an alcoholic Irish Catholic home, gambling all the time, everybody drinking all the time. My father was alcoholic addict, worked in and out of the house a lot, though, very abusive to my mom. So I watched a lot of domestic violence growing up, a lot of mental issues with my dad. He very suicidal. And then towards the end of his drinking, he was very sick. I always tell people I've been in and out of hospitals and courthouses since the time I was 2 years old, because that's all that my family was continuously. And that just ended. I mean, unfortunately, my mom passed away in 2020, but even through my adulthood, I've been in and out of hospitals, and then my sister in courthouses. So it's just always been something in my life. And at 13 years old, I'll kind of make the story a little bit shorter. My dad had been very sick the year of 1978, blizzard of 78. He had to be taken to the hospital on a snowmobile because that was the only way we could get there. The doctors had told him never to drink again, and he started again. They were going to be sending him to Mayo Clinic because they just couldn't find out what was wrong. Now, 1978, there were a lot of new diseases coming in, so I'm pretty sure he probably had something that they just hadn't diagnosed yet. But come home through the summer, he went through like shock treatments, like where they literally went in and did that, where they fried your brain, like in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So he would have no memory. So he would come home, and then my friends would come over, and it was always a battle with me because I was trying to cover up what I was going through. But at the same time, people knew. So I was being bullied a lot, and that was at the age of, 12. I was getting ready to be 13. In December of 1978, my dad was still super sick. He always took hot baths when he was not feeling well. And on December, I guess it would have been the 10th, he took his hot bath, but he had taken a lot of opiates that night. And my mom and I woke up in the morning to him drowned in our bathtub. So that was on December 11th. Like I said, 1978, I heard the blood curdling scream from my mother. I ran downstairs to the bathroom. We had one of those big claw bathtubs, and there he laid. And so I always say that no one should ever have to witness that, whether you're an adult, a child, anything, to see somebody like that. So that was kind of a trauma that I really feel like I kind of bottled it up, and more now through my going through things, I'm learning more how to deal with that. So at that age is when I really started like drinking more and partying more. I was telling Cinda last week, I think I had my actual first drink when I was probably 12. And she asked me, did I think anything was, like wrong or anything like that? And growing up in that world and that family like that, it was normal. That was just normal life. People drank. That's what they did, So we're going to fast forward if that's all right, because I don't want to take up too much of the whole thing. So I'd like you guys to maybe jump in with some questions.
We'll interrupt you. We don't have any problem doing that.
Okay.
But we got like 6 minutes till we take a break.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So we'll do this a little bit then. So from 13, so my mom got remarried shortly after my dad died, like really shortly. My dad died December 11th of 1978. She got married in April of 1979. Now, I wasn't super excited about her marrying him. He was our neighbor. They'd only lived there a short while. He had just got divorced, but he swooped her off her feet, and he gave her diamonds and jewelry and treated her like she should have been treated all those years that my dad was knocking her head into a wall and threatening with shooting her and all of that. So I was like kind of okay, but not really. And my stepdad, a very strong German man. I actually just talked to him yesterday. He's going to be 86 and he's got some dementia. So talking to him is always a little hard, but he's been my stepdad since 1979. So for a really long time. And so throughout that, then, he had kids, she had kids, the battle between the kids, your kids are better than my kids, all of that. And my mom, she didn't really know how to live life because it was always so dysfunctional. So I wanted to get out of the house. Like, I'm going to get out of the house. So I started taking cosmetology my sophomore year of high school. Now I'm drinking and partying with all my friends through all of this stuff still, right? I mean, just my friend owned a a wedding reception hall. So I would go work there every weekend, Friday, Saturday. We could just all drink there while we were there. So I think that's where I always have been a functioning, working alcoholic. And so going to cosmetology, I met my boyfriend my junior year, I guess. Well, by my senior year, I said, hey, I'm ready to get out of the house. Will you marry me? So I think about it now. I'm like, he didn't propose to me. I was like, I gotta get out of the house. Will you marry me? And he's like, I don't think we're ready to get married. I'm like, please marry me. And so, and I figured at that point in my life, you know, Irish Catholic, that's what you have to get married. You can't just go live with someone. I don't know how I thought that because of I did a lot of things from the time I was 13 till I was 18. But so I married him. We got married in 1984, a year after I graduated from high school at 18 years old. Our marriage didn't last long. He was very antisocial. I'm very social. He wanted to stay home and drink all the time. I wanted to go out all the time, even though we're only 19 years old. But in that day and age, we were allowed to drink at that time because that was grandfathered in. And eventually he didn't want to do anything. He just sat home. He drank. He would barely shower. It was bad. So my sister lived with me for a while. She was 14, or 15. I was 20. So the stress of that. So one day I was just like, I'm done. I'm just done. I didn't want to work on anything. I'm done. And I walked away. And when I did that, I ran into the man that I thought I was going to change. I've known him since I was 13 years old. I already knew he'd been in and out of prison twice. I knew he had 2 kids we all went to school together, but I was going to be the one to change him. So that was like in 1986, probably 86, I would say, because I think about the red flags now. I'm blessed because I had 2 children with him, but from 86 to 89, when I had my first son, there was not just red flags. They were like curtains hanging, like, bam, bam, what are you doing? But I would see that little glimmer of hope in him. So I knew that it was there and I was going to change him. But we drank and partied a lot together too. And that was a very, very toxic, abusive relationship. Just the whole thing right back. But here I was, that was honestly normal for me. You know, that was what I lived with. My dad hitting my mom upside the wall and her forgiving him. And I think about that now in general, like so many times and I forgive people now for a lot of things myself, but I don't walk up to them and say, I forgive you if you hit my head up against a wall. But with him, it was like my mom taught me, it's okay, just forgive him. Just forgive him. It'll be better tomorrow. It'll be better tomorrow. And
on that note, I think that's an issue that so many parents don't think about. It's like, do as I say, not as I do. But we always do what they did, or yes. It's either that or the total opposite. But we're teaching our kids when we are in these situations, and I'm telling you, you know, that is the biggest reason to stop. Or to not just for yourself, but for your kids. But on that note, we're going to come back. We're going to continue with your story, and we're going to get these bills paid right after this. We'll be back. See ya.
It's the PPC Radio Show, hosted by Cinda Williams, co-hosted by Shelly Shell Williams. Music by DJ Kid Disco on the Grown Folks WGFB-FM radio. So are you ready? How it used to be. Something for everyone. 24/7, 365.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Cinda Williams here, and welcome to the Grown Folks Radio World. Wednesday afternoons from 2 to 4 Eastern, I host the PPC Radio Show with Shelly Shell Williams.
Hey everybody, it's Shell Williams, Philly's Oprah.
We got some important stuff to talk about.
Fridays at noon Eastern, I present the PPC Podcast. It drops on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, and many more. Please join me for real talk, great guests, lots of laughs, and powerful, precious conversations that can fill your self-help treasure chest with gems.
Listen. You only think you know Cinda Williams, co-host of the PPC radio show and the Melanated Morning Show. You've seen her in films with some of the GOATs. You may have even heard her sing her way to the top. You don't have to judge the book by its cover. You can get the book and read it cover to cover. I'm talking about Pink Panty Confessions by Cinda Williams, available in paperback and digital format in all good bookstores. I would probably look in Amazon.
Pink Panty Confessions, the book.
The COVID-19 vaccines can be our chance to get back to our plans, who we are, what we miss, to get back to each other, to life. But it's okay to have questions, like, how were the vaccines tested? In rigorous clinical trials among adults of diverse backgrounds. Can the vaccines give you COVID-19? You cannot get COVID-19 from a vaccine. Why should I get vaccinated? Protecting yourself also helps protect the people around you. Find the latest information at getvaccineanswers.org.
Hey everybody, it is Shelly Williams.
Hi, this is Cinda Williams, and I am so blessed to tell you about a new book on survival called Faith, Failure, Success, Volume 2, Surviving the Storm. Erica Summers, Martha Chavez, Latricia Rice, Nicole Reed, Vanya Hudson, and I have come together to share our deepest challenges and how we overcame. Please check it out on Amazon.com and wherever books are sold.
Amazon is hiring near you. Earn a competitive wage and start as soon as 7 days. No resume or experience required. Health and safety are a top priority with all of Amazon's roles and sites. Amazon is taking precautions in their buildings to keep people healthy. Go to Amazon.com/apply. That's Amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
WGFB-FM radio. So are you ready? How it used to be. Something for everyone. 24/7, 365. It's the PPC Radio Show. Hosted by Cinda Williams. Co-hosted by Shelly Shell Williams. Music by DJ Kid Disco. On the Grown Folks Radio. Yo.
Hi, welcome back to the PPC Radio Show. We have been talking with Tanny Lynn Connors, who is sharing her very adventurous life. It really is. I mean, it is difficulties, but because you've survived, we can say it was an adventure that you survived, and that's a great thing. So continue with your story. Unless Shelly, you want to add something before? Anything specific before we let her talk?
Oh no, I'm listening to her story. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. So let's listen so I can hear more.
Thank you. And the thing is it is a lot, but I'm condensing it so much too, right? Because I mean, I am 56, so we don't have that much time to talk about it all. So continuing on with my boy's dad. So from 1986 until I got pregnant in 1980. Let's see, I would have got pregnant in 1989 because he was due in 1990, but I had him 6 weeks early. So then now I'm like, okay, I really can fix him now, right? We're pregnant, even though I knew he already had 2 kids, and the 2 kids would come when I, on the weekends and stay with us as long as I was there. And they were, let's see, Nick was 18 months when Scott and I started. I can't even say dating because we never dated. The man didn't know how to date. He was an alcoholic crack addict. He didn't know anything about dating. I just was going to save him. And so Nick was 18 months and Heather was 3. And so I'm very close to the kids still to this day. Heather, Nick's, we'll talk about Nick a little bit too. But so I get pregnant with Chad towards probably month 6. I get so sick, and it's all stress, like in and out of the hospital, just in and out. And then I was due in January to have him. November, I think it was 21st, I ended up in the hospital, IVs, morphine. Either I wasn't going to make it or he wasn't going to make it. It was just that sick. And I didn't drink when I was pregnant, just to talk about that. I did not drink when I was pregnant. And when I was through these years, I mean, I drank, but I wouldn't have considered the alcoholism part of it, even though I did things and I blacked out, but I never looked at myself as an alcoholic. So had Chad November 29th, 1989, amniocentesis, make sure his lungs are developed 4 times. We did those the day that his lungs were developed, man, they induced me. And here's my little 4-pound, 9-ounce baby boy, 17 and a half inches long, 6 weeks early. And we go home from the hospital the next day, and they're telling me you can't lift a bag of flour because it weighs more than your son. And in my head, I'm like, okay, we're going to go home. We're just going to have this little happy family. I go home he had got a bonus. He came to the hospital, brought me roses, brought Chad a little bear, and I came home to nothing. He sold everything, golf shoes, plants, tables, everything for his crack. So here I am like, oh, what am I going to do? Now I have a baby, but I'm still going to try to make it. So now I'm working. I start working 6 weeks later, going to school to be a court stenographer and just trying to do everything. I wasn't going to leave him yet though. I was still going to be that champion. His mom would be like, I know you're the one that can change him. So I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do this. So, fast forward a little bit, I have another baby in 1992. I have a little boy named Cody Mitchell. He was 5.5 weeks early. He weighed 5 pounds, 15 ounces. He was born on May 31st. Okay, so I'm getting to the point in life that I'm done with Scott. I cannot do this with him anymore. I can't take the abuse anymore. God only knows if he would snap and hurt one of my kids. That's what I'm worried about. Now it's not about me. Now it's about these 2 little boys that I have. So December of 1992, we had decided that it was done. I was done. I couldn't do this anymore. He's accused me of cheating on him and all of these things. And I remember my mom, sometimes she'd be like, just do whatever he says. Don't argue with him. And I'd be like, if I don't say anything, it's worse. I don't know, the abuse, you're getting punched whether you're talking, you're getting punched whether you don't. You just don't know what to do. So his family was going to Florida to visit his grandmother on December 11th. And Scott was moving. He was packing his stuff and going to go start a new life down there. And he knew that his grandma would take care of him. So, I mean, I wasn't sad. I can't lie. I wasn't sad at all. I was like, good, go across the country. That way I don't have to worry. And maybe I can get my life together. Cause I know that I'm a good person and I can do good things and I work hard and all that. So we wake up the morning of December 11th. His plane was supposed to leave at 4. I had been at an event with my mom the night before. It was a makeup party or something. 3 a.m, fed Cody, put him in bed. He had just gotten off a sleep apnea monitor, heart monitor from the hospital. He was on it for 3 months. He got off it in October of 92. And the morning of December 11th, I woke up at about 10:15. Scott was in the kitchen. Chad was still sleeping. And I said, have you checked on Cody? And he's like, no, I haven't heard him. Well, as a mom, my heart went into my stomach. I walked into his room and he was lifeless. He was starting to turn blue. I immediately told Scott, call 911. Of course, we didn't have cell phones back then. He got the phone. It was a cordless phone. He brought it into me and they're trying to tell me how to do CPR on this little baby. We have volunteer firemen where I live, so they were there quickly. They told me, that they were going to do their best to try to save him on the way to the hospital, but unfortunately they were not able to save him. So he passed away that day, and my life went completely numb. I didn't know what to do, where to go. I remember, and things like this just click in my head, because I remember at the hospital, and he had not, and this is just something that haunted me for a long time. He was he wasn't baptized. He was just a little baby. I didn't baptize him. And I remember there was a priest at the hospital, and I'm not knocking any religions. I'm not going to say what it was, but he told me that my baby didn't go to heaven because I didn't have him baptized. Now, not only am I living with the trauma of that I didn't wake up, that I didn't save him. Now you're telling me that he's not in heaven because I didn't baptize him. And I struggled with that for a really long time, actually till after I got sober, because somebody finally put it in my head that I learned that that wasn't true. So needless to say, Scott did not move. He stayed, and he looked at me at the kitchen table. I remember we were sitting there actually drinking together, and he said, this is either going to make me worse or make me better. Well, it made him way worse. The abuse got so bad, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And I had made the decision that I had to figure out what I was going to do, and I had to leave him, and didn't care what it took. And I remember the day that I was really making my mind up, he was flipping out, and he had a screwdriver at my head ready to kill me. And my stepdad happened to walk in right then and save my life, and that's when I packed everything and said, I'm done. And I moved into a little trailer with my son and I, and then immediately got a boyfriend. So that was just a little play on that was from 1992 to 1997, that 5 years of craziness. Maybe it was 90. I'm sorry, 96.
Did his family know that they said you're going to fix him, but did his family know that he was hitting you? Or did he just think he was drinking and
they just more thought he was drinking and drunk? And I didn't talk a lot about the hitting, and most of the times it was hidden, the bruises and the things, but there was times that they knew. But at the end of the day, I mean, I look at it like I kept going back. Like I never left. I was the one that kept, but I don't know. I don't really even know how to say that. I know that when I finally decided to leave him, actually his sister was the one that really helped me. Because I loved his family. They were good people, and I was afraid that I was going to lose the kids too, because they were part of my life too. And she told me, take a piece of paper. And I recommend this to anybody that's going through anything. Take a piece of paper of what you're going through, put a line down the middle, put the good, put the bad, write it down. Like, seriously, we can think it in our head, like, oh yeah, this is bad, this is bad, this is good, this is good. But when you see it in writing and you see the bad is like this and the good is like this, you're going to make a decision in your life. And that's exactly what I did. That's when I made that decision. So I'm pretty sure probably, it's such a blur now when I think about all those years of the abuse and whether his family, I'm sure they knew, I guess, but probably not as much as I let them know, if that makes any sense.
Right. If you're saying, I mean, because I feel like anybody would think if you could list bad, good. If you put hitting, I think hitting is all bad. Yeah. And there's nothing else. It trumps everything else. I don't give a darn what the hit trumps everything else. Yeah. And there's no need to write any other list because that's bad. So they must not have known the extent of what he could do, and because that could affect your children and your children, his children, all children. Right. But now, mind you, and not making excuses, but we both came from not good families like that. So that was kind of, and there were police reports and all of that too. So I moved in with a boyfriend. That's when my drinking career, as I called it, really started hard, because we drank all the time. My son was 5 in kindergarten, drinking all the time on the weekends, NASCAR races, fishing, hunting. And then I did that for like 2 years with him. And then I decided one day, I don't want to live like this anymore. I mean, not the drinking part, but I didn't want to live with him out hunting, fishing. I was kind of supporting him. I'm like, this is dumb. I need to take care of my son. So I'm going to focus on my son. And that's really, through all my drinking, my son was always my focus. Like, I worked hard to make sure that he had everything that he physically needed, I guess, but not emotionally needed. Like, I wasn't there. So from 97 to 2004, I drank. That's all I did. I worked at a golf course. I would get up at 5:30 in the morning, go to work. I would drink all day at work, all night at work. Sometimes I was telling Cinda, in the summertime, I worked 70 to 80 hours a week. But my son was either with my parents, his grandparents, or his best friend's family. So I always knew he was taken care of. So I could just drink. And that's what I did. And in between that, of course, there was blackouts and there was things that I shouldn't be doing. And there was times when I shouldn't even be here. Like, God has definitely had a purpose for me, because I have stories that should never leave Cancun. Is that how that goes? You have secrets that can't leave Cancun. I have one of those. So that's a true confession. you didn't say, huh?
Right. That's it. Isn't that song like I got secrets can't leave Cancun? That one.
I know
Yeah.
I was with you. I knew what song you
Yeah. So it continued like that. And I was in 2000, I got really sick with pancreatitis. Pretty much the doctors told me, don't drink for a while. That's all they said. And I didn't. I quit drinking for 6 months. I drank O'Doul's. And then it was game on and my life went to shit real quick. I went and started working at a sports bar in 2001. And I made drinking my career. Like I drank all the time. And it got to the point that I remember looking in the mirror and flashback a little bit to when my dad died. I wrote a poem. And it was about alcoholism and how I was never going to be an alcoholic. And the only thing that happens from alcoholism is insanity, death, or jail. Well, I was at the insanity part. I was in the morning, I would be looking in my mirror, drinking shots of Listerine just to get me to a bottle of some sort, to the store, to wherever I could go, because I was shaking and vomiting so bad. In and out of the hospital for about three years. My son's seeing all this, although in my mind, I'm like, he doesn't see me because I'm working all the time too, but I'm in and out of the hospital too. So if we want to, do you want me to keep going here?
Well, we know you survived it.
Yes.
And
yes.
we don't have to get into the drama of how that happened because we don't have that much more time.
Right.
So tell us about after you got, if you guys want to hear more about this, go to the podcast. Please listen to the podcast on Anchor, Spotify, wherever, because she gets really into depth about how she came to her, I gotta change.
Yeah.
So since we're like nearing the end, tell us what's come of you now.
Okay. So like I said, I've been sober for 18 years now. And it's been miraculous, honestly. Like Cinda said, if you heard, how I got there, but now I love to say that I live and love life. Like, I didn't, and I say to people, like, I didn't get sober on March 9th, 2004. And I was like, oh, here I am. Everything's grand. It's been a work in progress and a lot of work, but now I live life. When I was talking about dancing, I remember in my head when I quit drinking, like, how are you going to dance? How are you going to dance if you're not drunk? Because most people have to be, right? And one day I decided, no, I'm living life for me and my happiness. And so now I'm like out there dancing with the world. I'm out here sharing hope with the world. I want people to know that we all go through a struggle in life, but we don't struggle alone. We are here. And I my biggest thing that I like to share with people is I'm a big advocate of no excuses. I feel like I got clean, I got sober, but life still happens, right? I've still been through a lot of struggles. When I was talking about Nick and Heather, my bonus children, actually, Heather, I just got to marry her in December. I got ordained so I could marry her back in Toledo. And that was awesome. Like, what a privilege that was. I've known her since I knew her the day she came home from the hospital, and I got to marry her. In 2012, I was going to school to be a blackjack dealer at the casino in Toledo. And towards the end of our training, I was at home. My son was at home. His brother's best friend had died of leukemia the day before that would have been February 16th. And on February 17th of 2012, we had a phone call that Chad's brother, Nicholas, was killed in a car accident. A single car drinking and driving accident. And now he was, if the people that didn't get to meet him, I wish you could have, because he was exactly what they call a simple man. He would do anything for anybody. He never asked for anything in life. And he was just a good guy. And when we lost him, he was, like I said, 18 months old is when I started becoming his bonus mom. So he was basically my son. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because I'd been sober 8 years at that time, but I didn't have that excuse that, this trauma just happened to me. I'm going to go drink again, or I'm going to go drug again, or I'm going to pick up a cigarette again. I chose to not do that because, like I say, life is still going to happen to us. And it's probably one of my biggest things that I've been talking about lately is we're all going to go through a struggle, but we all make a choice of what we're going to do with that struggle. And what I feel like people need to learn is the tools to use to get you through the struggles, because we can get sober, we can get clean, we can change our life. But if we're not changing what's going on in here, it's not going to be any different. And you're either going to live miserable or you're going to go back to that drug or drink, is how I feel about it. 2020 was a horrible year for me, a horrible year for everybody. My best friend took a Percocet. It was pure fentanyl. He died. He was 34 years old. Valentine's Day will never be the same for me. April 3rd, a good friend of mine was murdered by her husband. He shot her 14 times in her car. And August of 2020, my mom passed away, who had lived with me since 2013. So I'm not saying this to like, wow, what a rough year. I'm saying this because I didn't have to go back out and use or drink again, because I have the tools to use to make my life better and happier. So that's kind of.
So did the drinking all those years, did it affect your son? Did it, he got to see all of it. You recover, you're here, victory is here. But what effects did it have on him? Is he adjusted to it? Did he say, oh, I want to drink too? How is he?
So, I thought for all those years that he didn't know I drank, like I said, and he just pointed that out to me a few years ago, because I'd always be like, sharing my story. Well, Chan didn't really even know I drank because I was at work all the time. So he didn't really ever see me. And he called me out on that one day. He was like, really, Mom? Are you kidding me? And I was like, oh, because when I quit drinking, he was 14. So it wasn't like he was a little spring chicken, so, but I always would say to him, listen, stay away from drugs, stay away from alcohol, blah, 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 blah. So he was like, so he would throw it in my face sometimes, like, Mom, you made me feel like it was the devil, and he's had his not drinking, he doesn't really have drinking problems, but there's been times that he's called me pretty inebriated, and some of the anger will come out in him of the things. But really, all in all, he's pretty solid. He's a manager of a battery place. He's had his job for 7 years. He's single, him and his dog, has a house, so really, but he's in the last 2 years, he's been working on his mindset. So, and talking to counselors and stuff. So that's helped too.
So do you share those tools, the tools you have to help him out? Because did he ever blame you? Because, we all do the blame game. You weren't there when I was a child. You should have been there more. Do you get that?
Oh, he definitely, he'll throw that at me, but not in the last couple of years, because I think because he's worked on himself. But we've had conversations, but usually those conversations didn't come out unless he's had like 10 drinks, and then he'll express it. And then the next day I'll go, well, usually I'll end up over at his house that night anyways, but then the next day we'll sit and we'll have a conversation about it, right? Like, okay, you might have been drunk last night and you might have been splurting. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I didn't know these feelings were here. But then we sit down and I'll have a conversation with him, because I'm so big on, we have to talk about it. You can't keep that bottled up, So, but yeah, definitely believe me, trust me, he blames me for him being here. Like, how dare I had sex with his dad for him to be here? I'm like, okay, but that's changed.
That's kids. And the one thing I want to say before we wrap it up is one of the things that I thought that you said that was very important is we need tools to work through our things, because my issues might not be as dramatic as yours, or more as obvious, because alcohol is a very obvious disease. Alcoholism is an obvious disease. You could have low self-esteem. You could have issues where you have issues with other people because of the color of their skin, or you might have issues. There's all kind of issues that we all have, and we're all constantly moving towards evolving. Mm-hmm. We're all moving towards evolving in whatever road we're on, and the tools are there for us to do it. And this show, Hope, your show, helping other people evolve, all these things are our attempt at trying to help people change towards a better. And because I can't change you can't change me, but I can change myself and grow and be a better person. Because I think at a spirit level,
again, you can't change you can't change anybody, because she mentioned a long time ago she wanted to change her husband, and the thing is, you can't change anybody. They have to want to change themselves.
Exactly. And but we have the tools to do it, there's books, there's listening to podcasts, there's going to doctors, there's medication if it's certain things, there's all kind of things that are there for us. And I will say this about medication, having had medication at one point in my life, make sure that's what it is, because maybe you don't need medication. If you have been diagnosed with a certain disease and they say you do, then you better take it. But for me, with depression, I was just toxic. I had to cleanse my body, and once I cleansed my body, that went away. So but there are tools for you. Let me let you, Tammy, tell us about how people can catch up with you, find you, support you, because we really appreciate your story and you as a human being, who you are now and what you're doing. So share with the audience how to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And so a year ago, I started a podcast called Hope, Helping Other People Evolve. And through that podcast, what I wanted to do was to let people know that you don't struggle alone in the world. There's so many people that don't want to get out of bed or walk out their front door because they feel like they're so alone. And I was that person. And when you were talking, I just want to add a little bit. When you're talking about the alcoholism was a problem, became an addiction, but there was more, the self-esteem, the worthlessness, all of that. So the tools are what you need to use to get that. So what I do on my podcast is I interview all kinds of people. I've interviewed Cinda. I've interviewed some other ladies from Faith, Failure, Success, Surviving the Storm. It's been amazing. But what I do is I just interview people that have unfortunately been through a struggle, but who have fortunately been through a strength. So it's called Hope. H period, O period, P period, E period. It looks just like my cup here. You find it on all platforms, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. I have a YouTube channel, Tammy Lynn Connors, 1 N in my middle name. And I have Facebook, TikTok, and everything like that. It's just,
what's your TikTok? What's your TikTok?
It's Tammy Lynn Connors. I keep everything my name.
Tammy
that
Lynn
way.
Connors, okay.
Yep, with 1 N. And I just am out here just trying to help people know that they don't struggle alone. And today they can get out of bed and walk outside because they heard a story. And usually what happens is through our stories, we help give tools too, and I like to ask good questions for people. And I like to find out, what they've used to get them through, because my story of struggle through alcoholism, addiction, and abuse isn't going to be the same as somebody that I just interviewed that was in a rollover car accident that will never walk again. But we still have the hope to offer to others. So yeah, that's who I am. That's what I'm doing. And I'm super excited. I love this journey I'm on. I have like 48 episodes now, and it's just been incredible. Yeah.
So you guys check her out. It's a really great in-depth conversation with Tammy Lynn, and you're an awesome person. So thank you so much. Shelly, you got something you want to share?
I just want to make sure, James Patterson, your uncle, he says, thank you, Tammy, for sharing your story. Heard you on Cinda's podcast. Also, you are an inspiration. Hopefully your story is inspiring others. God bless. Want to make sure that's Cinda's uncle.
Okay, thank you so much.
Was it James Patterson or James Williams?
Oh no, that's Patterson. My bad.
Patterson, that's my friend.
That's your friend.
Well, thank you.
That's your friend. I'm thinking James. But either way, that was a great message. And I think Earl says it was nice that you shared your story with us, Tammy. So they're thanking you for sharing your story. And it's always good to hear, no matter what, that somebody is blessed by your story. Just follow me on Instagram at Shelly Show Williams. I'm around. I know we're at the last thing. Because I did have another question about your job selection. Your job selections are all based around alcohol.
Mm-hmm. They sure were.
You said blackjack dealer. You want to go to a bar. Do you have a job now that's in those areas?
Right now I have a home-based business right now, but I work in those areas now. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah.
Got it.
At all. Yeah.
Cool. DJ Kid Disco, do you have anything you want to share?
Sorry about last week. We had technical difficulties, so we couldn't do the podcast. So we had to reschedule Yvette Money for this Sunday.
Okay.
Sorry for
why money's on in my opinion, that's called?
No, just the culture. I'm sorry.
Just the culture. Okay.
Yes, simply yes.
That's every Sunday.
Okay,
yes,
cool. So check out DJ Kid Disco's podcast and check out my podcast. It's coming on this Friday with Paula Curia. who I just did a movie with, a short film that's going to be along, and she's really amazing, and I love her story. So check us out. PPC podcast this Friday drops at noon Eastern on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. And then also I have a live show coming up in Chicago. Chicagoland. I'll give you the exact information about that next week, because it'll be right before the show, because it's not this Friday, but the following Friday. Come and hear me sing a little bit of jazz and hang out with me. I'll leave that information. Like I said, it's in Chicagoland. So if you're listening, Chicagoland, please come out and join me, but I'll give you more details. I'll be posting and I'll talk about it next week. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming out today. Thank you for everyone that chimed in. As usual, my loves, you are wonderful. And God bless you all. Until next time, that's a wrap.